Did Sony pull their punches at the PlayStation showcase? PlayStation business is at its best? Naughty Dog explains what happened with the Last of Us factions, and new rumors of Sony acquiring CD Projekt. All that and more in today's PlayStation news. Let's get to them. Did Sony pull its punches in the last PlayStation showcase? That's what Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson took away from the previous Sony event. Henderson, who leaked correctly Projekt Q and the PS5 earbuds, said that he didn't feel as disappointed as most people, but thought the show was mediocre anyway, and felt more like a 12 slate plan than the touted PS5 Phase 2. He also said that Sony is not short of exclusive to show either, and he has seen trailers for a lot of the games and they are pretty much ready. Spider-Man 2 didn't have a release date, and the rumored PS5 with a detachable disc drive, also leaked by Henderson, was not there, so he thinks a second showcase should be happening later this year. The Snitch, another leaker with a good track record, also commented on the matter in their Discord, saying they know several announcements not given during the showcase, including a PC port releasing in July, and it's weird they were not at the showcase. I feel I have been hearing about Sony pulling their punches every year since the PS5 generation started, but part of the hype for this one is that most of their studios have been long working on new things that haven't been announced. Sony did a double showcase in 2020 when it revealed the PS5 and later announced the price, so they could either do a showcase or a state of play to announce the Spider-Man release date and the new PS5 model, but after this year's showcase it doesn't feel there's any difference to do one or the other. Do you think Sony will have something to show later this year? Share your thoughts in the comments. After the showcase ended, Microsoft and Xbox poked some fun at Sony and PlayStation by posting all the games from the showcase that will be arriving on their platforms. This irritated fans in what I think was a good move from them, and honestly Sony and Nintendo should do it as well, because sometimes it's hard to track what games are multi-platform, even worse when some of them pay for an announcement embargo like Microsoft did with the Persona remasters last year, but gladly it's not the case here. Sony kind of does this. After a presentation you could see them doing blog posts and tweets about games coming to their platforms, but not as conveniently. Anyway, I think fans took this too seriously, and it's nothing to be angry about. Last week Sony held a business meeting that was setting the tone for what we were going to see in the showcase, and maybe we wouldn't have been as surprised by what wasn't there. The Japanese company reported a record revenue of 3.6 billion yen, which dwarfs any other previous PlayStation generation. PS5 supply continues to be their top priority, with the company sourcing multiple suppliers to remain agile in an unstable market and ongoing logistical negotiations to maintain optimal delivery routes. As a result, they expect PS5 sales to surpass the PS4 gap when time aligned by late November this year, with the PS5 continuing to overtake the last-gen console from year 4 onwards. PS5 shipments for Q3 and Q4 last fiscal year more than doubled the previous 2 quarters, which is why we have seen the console having a great start of 2023 so far. With all the success of PS5, Sony is expecting the PlayStation revenue market share to rise from 46% in 2022 to over 50% in the near future. Their own tracking from users indicating the momentum of the brand puts them ahead with a 65 score compared to Xbox and Nintendo's 44 and 53 respectively. They also highlighted their current strong portfolio, including God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Hogwarts Legacy and Gran Turismo 7, with great upcoming releases like Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy XVI and Street Fighter 6. Gaming content on PS5 has also led to ongoing high engagement compared to PS4, with 71% of users paying for PS Plus, 53% of users making a PlayStation Store transaction since launch, and the monthly active users on PS5 edges PS4 by 6% to 43%, comparing March during year 3 for each console. They expect most of these KPIs to increase by the end of fiscal year 23. The average lifetime value of a PS5 user totals $622, an almost 30% increase over what it was on PS4 during the same 3-year period. That comparison increased in almost every regard, like accessories, subscriptions and add-ons, but decreasing games by 10%, likely tied to the $70 pricing. Talking PlayStation Plus, the renewed service offers over 800 games and has generated 1 billion hours of gameplay for extra and premium games. The new service helped improve retention, with 78% of users renewing and average revenue per user increasing by 11%. Out of the around 45 or 46 million PS Plus subscribers, 6.1 million are on Extra, which represents 13% of total users, and 17% are on Premium, which means 8 million users. That's for a total of 14.1 million subs in the higher tiers in the first 10 months of the new service. Accessories are an important driver for PS5, with the new DualSense Edge being 58% of that, and Sony also plans to launch the new Access controller and the newly confirmed Remote Play handheld and earbuds. PSVR 2 doesn't appear to be a failure at all after it reached nearly 600 million units sold after 6 weeks, when compared to the original PSVR, which had close to 500 during the same period. We also have to consider PSVR 2 was exclusive to Sony's own stores and managed to get those numbers, so the device should keep the momentum now that it's in more stores, but we'll have to wait and see. Titles expected for VR are the now available Beat Saber and the upcoming Crossfire, Sierra Squad, Synapse, and Resident Evil 4 featured at the PlayStation Showcase. An important part of Sony's strategy is live services, for which they expect to integrate Bungie's expertise into the rest of PlayStation Studios and promote collaboration between them for core functions. By 2025, Sony expects the investment between new and existing IPs will be 50% for each, and out of that 60% will be focused towards live service and 40% on traditional, which kind of explains why we started to see focus on live services in the past showcase with Haven, Concord, and Marathon. The company's expectation is to publish 2 or more major releases per year, covering every major genre with a mix of single player and live services, and a balance between big franchises and new IPs. In other segments like PC, Sony is continuing to grow from 80 million revenue the year prior to 250 last year, and they expect to reach 450 million by next year. Titles like Spider-Man and The Last of Us have sold 1.5 million and 368,000 copies respectively so far. They also hope to expand their brand and content to mobile, for which they are exploring more investments and acquisitions, and they prepare for a push towards cloud streaming as well. Another way to expand their brand is with transmedia projects, for which they highlighted The Last of Us on HBO, upcoming Twisted Metal and Gran Turismo productions, or the synergy between Spider-Man 2 and the Spider-Verse movie. So there you have it, expect to see more live service from now on. The traditional PlayStation game is going to shrink a bit, but it won't go away. Looking at this, you could see why they focused the showcase so much on live service, and Spider-Man was the only single player game from first party. Back to the showcase, there's more on the handheld Projekt Q from Insider Gaming. According to Tom Henderson, the device is scheduled to launch later this year, specifically in November, and if you hope for a big battery life, there's some bad news, as it will only have 3 to 4 hours. Henderson says that in the end it will depend on pricing, and he believes $200 could see it sell as strong numbers, but PlayStation usually means a high price tag. I think even at $200 that's a disastrous battery life, and I'm still not sold this is a concept many people want, but let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Just like Naughty Dog let us know the reason why The Last of Us Factions has skipped this showcase and any other this year. They posted a message on Twitter 2 days after the showcase saying that they are incredibly proud of what the team has done so far, but as development continued they realized that the best for the game is to give it more time. They will continue working on it as well as their other games, including a brand new single player experience, and look forward to sharing more soon. I think there's nothing wrong with the delay, but this would have helped a lot to set expectations for the showcase. Granted, if they said it, maybe not as many people would have tuned in, but still I believe transparency was the better option. According to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, Sony has slowed down development as they reassess the project's quality and long-term viability, with the team being scaled back and a small team remaining on it while they evaluate its direction. Naughty Dog said they wouldn't talk too early about their games, and it seems they did it again. Hopefully everything goes well for the team and they manage to pull it off at the end. Speaking of things having a rough time, PlayStation Visual Arts appears to have been affected by layoffs following a large pivot on a AAA multiplayer game. The news was shared by project coordinator John Borba on his LinkedIn page, explaining he was affected and that the industry is tightening belts all over the place. PlayStation Visual Arts worked on The Last of Us Remake before it moved back to Naughty Dog, a project that appears to have started as an Uncharted remake. Recent hirings at the studio hinted they were collaborating again on a beloved franchise that was thought to be Uncharted, but I think this is the first time we hear about them working on a AAA multiplayer game. Maybe some support to other studios as they also help with animation. Here's hoping those affected land on their feet. Another reason for the tightening of the industry is the constant acquisition spree, and another rumor for Sony acquiring a major publisher is again making the rounds. The rumor comes from trusted Destiny leaker Liz in her Discord server, where she said Sony would be acquiring CD Projekt and that Days Gone 2 has entered development. Those two rumors don't match, and we know Sony Band is working on a new IP, but the CD Projekt rumors comes from a while back, also picked up from market data platform PitchBook.com. PitchBook also listed Ballistic Moon as a Sony acquisition, and none of those have become true, so take these rumors with a grain of salt. Next, Haven's Fairgames shown at the PlayStation Showcase appears to be getting ready for an early access session. If you scan the code at the end of the trailer, you will be taken to the Take Their Money Experience website, and after pasting the following code you will be sent to a form where you have to name a billionaire who needs a spanking and why you want to be a part of it. There's no date for the early access phase, but if they're doing community alphas like this, maybe it's a good sign for the game's progress. Into some third-party stuff, another game from the showcase with new details is Phantom Blade Zero, As developer S-Game revealed in a Discord chat that all combat scenes in the trailer were in-engine, the game is a semi-open world with maps showing multiple paths, the story will take around 30 to 40 hours to complete, and it will have multiplayer. Konami also revealed new details for both Metal Gear Solid Delta and the Master Collection. According to the publisher, they explained in a tweet they chose Delta as the name because it means change or difference without changing structure. As they also said after the reveal, the remake will take everything from the original including story and voices, while modernizing graphics and gameplay. Regarding the collection, while we know it includes MGS 1, 2 and 3, these are the PS3 remasters of their better ports, which means it still includes MSX Metal Gear 1 and 2 that were part of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. Remedy also has more info on Alan Wake 2 in their website's FAQ. No disc versions for the game are planned, as Alan Wake 2 will launch for PS5 as a digital-only title due to the large number of games shifting to digital-only, and with digital-only consoles a release like this is not uncommon. Besides that, they say it helps to keep the price of the game at $60, and the studio didn't want to ship a product that will require a separate download. It will also have a deluxe edition going at $70, including the game's expansion pass with 2 planned DLC, Night Springs and Lake House, a Nordic shotgun skin for Saga, a Parliament shotgun skin for Alan, a Crimson Windbreaker skin for Saga and a celebrity suit for Alan, and a Lantern charm for Saga. Pre-ordering the game gives you an additional ornate revolver skin for Alan and a survival resources pack for Saga. The game is being made so that you don't require knowledge of the previous one, and they plan to support it post-launch with free content besides the 2 planned expansions. Remedy Communications Director Tomas Puja also explained on Twitter the trailer was running on a PS5. As they are pushing the graphics hard for this one, they believe they will have the best looking game in 2023. Moving into other news, a new Persona 5 domain has people thinking a new version of the game will be out soon. P5T.jp was spotted by a Twitter user saying it was registered on May 16. No announcement came at the showcase, so maybe at Summer Game Fest, or it's just Sega and Atlus saving the URL in any case, and it doesn't mean a game is coming, which could be as well. Ubisoft has announced it's back to the drawing board with the Prince of Persia remake. That was as part of a developer Q&A and FAQ from Ubisoft Montreal, which took development from Pune Studio last year. Producer Jean-François Note said that in terms of development stage they are in conception right now. They have looked at the feedback from the community since taking the reins of development, and they are building up the team, prototyping, testing elements, and looking to include that feedback. As a result, players should not expect to hear about the game this year. Mortal Kombat is premiering gameplay at Summer Game Fest on June 8, and if you want to try the game early, you can join the upcoming online stress test. NetherRealm announced that you can sign up on their website, link in the description, with dates to be confirmed at a later time. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is now one of the worst rated games of the year, and it has made the studio issue an apology for it. The new Lord of the Rings game came out on May 25th with a disastrous 40 score on OpenCritic and 36 on Metacritic after 51 and 35 reviews respectively. Daedalic Entertainment then issued an apology for their underwhelming experience on Friday, saying they acknowledged the game did not meet expectations for themselves or the community. They have been working on addressing bugs and technical issues, and are committed to providing patches that will allow fans to enjoy the game to its fullest potential. We're under a month for Final Fantasy XVI to arrive, and Game Informer continues revealing more details about the game. According to an interview with director Hiroshi Takai and combat director Ryota Suzuki, the game will have an arcade mode where you can play through stages you have beaten to try to go for better combat ranks. New Game Plus will ship on day 1, adding 2 new difficulty options over Story Mode and Action Mode. By replaying a stage while in New Game Plus, you can tackle them in Ultimaniac mode, an even more difficult variant. Harder difficulties offer you the option to upgrade weapons and accessories beyond their initial limit, and the game's design also changes, making enemies attack Clive all at once, unlike easier difficulties. You can also gain access to the Chronolith Trials, which are based on each icon and are the most difficult challenges in the game, offering a horde arena with the first 3 rounds being standard and increasing in difficulty after that. Trophy Hunters rejoice as Square Enix added a stage replay option for anyone looking for missing treasures or a shiny collectible. And if you want to improve your skills, you can do so with the special training mode accessible from Clive's main hub. The PlayStation Showcase was not the only gaming event last week, as the Warhammer Skull Showcase also revealed details for the franchise. To recap everything real quick, they revealed Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin, a real-time strategy game launching for PS5 in the future. Power Wash Simulator will also be getting new content in the form of some Warhammer DLC later this year. Space Marine 2 showed some blood-splattering gameplay as the Marines dealt with the Horde. The game launches later this year. Blood Bowl 3 will be getting the Lizardmen team with the launch of Season 1 this June, free for all players. New Orcs DLC has just been released for Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector, and Warhammer Vermintide 2 is getting 3 new remastered adventure maps from the fan favorite DLC of the first game, all for PS4 this summer. THQ Nordic has revealed new details on the Alone in the Dark remake from Pieces Interactive. The remake will star Jodie Comer and David Harbour as Emily Hardwood and Edward Carnby, both characters players can choose to play as to discover the mystery of the haunted mansion. The game tries to go back to the series' roots with characters reacting differently to either Emily or Edward, and each seeing different pieces of the overall story for replayability, plus there will be puzzles to solve and combat will have you using every bullet. It launches on October 25th, but you can try it now with the new prologue playable teaser, where you control John Grace as she tries to send a letter to Emily, Mr. Harwood's niece. And those are the PlayStation stories for today. Come back on Wednesday for a new video, but remember to share your thoughts on any of this news in the comments below, like or dislike to let me know your feedback, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, and consider subscribing for more on PlayStation. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!